Olá meus amigos, tudo bem com vocês? Aqui quem fala é o Matt, estamos aqui para mais um vídeo na Drop e desse vídeo a gente vai falar aí sobre Cyberpunk 2077. Tivemos aí um evento dedicado ao jogo, um dos maiores títulos aí, um dos maiores lançamentos de 2020. O jogo vai sair em novembro, dia 19 de novembro, e teve aí esse evento, também vai ter mais, já está confirmado, porém nesse evento a gente teve aí algumas informações, também tivemos aí trailer, novos anúncios, trailer que saiu dublado também depois, e depois aí que acabou o evento em si, caiu um embargo e já estão lançando aí gameplays. Inclusive a gente tem um gameplay de 26 minutos que mostra aí bem o jogo. Então eu vou falar aqui no começo as principais informações, você está vendo aí o trailer de fundo e já já tem o gameplay completo, e quando eu terminar aqui todas as informações aí você vê aí o gameplay sem nenhuma narração. Mas vamos lá então para as principais informações do Cyberpunk que foram reveladas aí nesse evento que se chamou aí Night City World, alguma coisa assim. Tivemos aí a informação reforçada no evento, na verdade já tinha sido revelado antes, eu até trouxe aí na Drop lá no Instagram, segue lá, @savedrop, porém eles reforçaram aqui nesse evento que o Cyberpunk, quem comprar aí agora para Xbox One ou PS4 vai poder resgatar no PS5 ou no Xbox Series X de modo gratuito. É claro que para você resgatar no Xbox Series X você tem que ter comprado no Xbox aí, o Xbox One. Se você comprar no PS4 você tem direito aí a resgatar no PlayStation 5 gratuitamente, então não vai precisar aí comprar o jogo duas vezes seguidas. Antes de continuar nas informações, você está vendo aí o trailer, como eu já disse. Esse trailer acontece diversas coisas e foi revelado que esse trailer só tem conteúdo do prólogo do jogo. Então tudo que você está vendo é só o prólogo, tem muito mais aí pra frente. Então tudo que está aí é só o prólogo, então você já vê que o prólogo já é bem intenso. O jogo vai ser lançado para PS4, Xbox One, PC e também Google Stadia ainda esse ano, e também vai ser lançado para PS5 e Xbox Series X provavelmente no lançamento. Como você já sabe, se você acompanha aqui as notícias da Drop, o PlayStation 5 foi vazado lá na Amazon que provavelmente a data de lançamento é dia 20 de novembro e o Cyberpunk 2077 vai ser lançado dia 19 de novembro. Então provavelmente esse jogo vai sair junto aí com o lançamento dos consoles. Lançou lá o PS4, o PS5, né, e o Xbox Series X. Já lança aí o Cyberpunk junto, é uma estratégia de marketing aí muito boa e vai fazer muito sucesso. Também foi revelado aí durante a transmissão que o jogo vai receber um anime. É isso mesmo, o Cyberpunk Edge Runner vai ser aí o anime oficial do Cyberpunk 2077. Vai ser lançado na Netflix em 2022, então vai demorar aí 2 anos, mas vai ser lançado aí no universo do Cyberpunk, na Night City, porém não vai ter aí os personagens desse jogo. Então não vai ter o Keanu Reeves, não vai ter aí o Vi, não vai ter nenhum personagem aí do Cyberpunk. Vai ser no mesmo universo, mas com personagens diferentes. Então vai ser um anime em parceria com a Netflix, lembrando que a Netflix aí lançou recentemente, uns meses atrás, o The Witcher, né, a série do The Witcher, que é da CD Projekt Red, e o Cyberpunk também é da CD Projekt Red. Então já tem aí uma relação forte aí, estreita das duas empresas, e como o The Witcher fez muito sucesso, eles não podiam aí também faltar com o Cyberpunk. Uma pena que não é uma série aí, de fato uma série, né, um anime, apesar de anime também ser legal, não é uma série aí real, né, algo bem grande que seria também mais interessante ainda e faria até mais sucesso. O estúdio aí que vai o estúdio aí que vai ser responsável por esse anime é o estúdio Trigger. Eu não acompanho tanto anime, mas pelo que eu vi, é um estúdio aí renomado, conhecido aí por títulos como Kill la Kill, espero que se pronuncie assim, mas pelo visto é um anime bem famoso. Eu até fiquei interessado aí pelo anime do Cyberpunk. Provavelmente eu vou assistir, eu espero que se pronuncie anime, não anime, sei lá, tanto faz. Mas em 2022 provavelmente eu vou assistir esse anime na Netflix. Então galera, essas são as informações. Deixa o like se gostou do vídeo, se inscreve no canal. Fica aqui ainda que agora vai ter o gameplay aí que tá bem legal, me lembrou o GTA até algumas partes. E eu gostei muito, estou bem ansioso. esse gameplay vai aumentar aí muito aí o seu hype com o Cyberpunk, então fica aí e confira aí o gameplay do Cyberpunk 2077. E é isso, galera, até a próxima.
So again, this is stuff that I didn't get to play because I was Nomad, but that sort of is like one of the Nomad playthrough options, which is cool. And again, you can see here actually on the screen, it's like a Nomad option. So this is again a mission that I didn't get to do, but the scale of the world really blew me away. The level of detail blew me away, and it's just a place that you want to live in. And again, I love how fresh it feels, and that may seem kind of weird in a way, but it's just like so many games now, I feel like we have sort of, either they're a sequel or they're kind of like, you can feel the forefathers of other games in them, and it's like, yeah, sure, it's slightly different, but it's not necessarily, they're a different sort of gameplay style. And this game just feels like incredibly unique and different in terms of what it's like to play, and the world feels so fresh. And I really just, I wanted to explore everything in it, and that was just a really new feeling, I think, because there are not many games these days that have that level of richness and detail, and the voice acting and the characters, super compelling, and every character I met, you were like, I want to know more about this character, I want to know their backstory, I want to understand more about them. It's not like, oh, here, some games it's like, there's a tier of characters which are really well done, and there's another tier which are just kind of like the NPCs. Like, everything here feels so well designed. Now this is some kind of combat, so again, this is not a sequence that I played, but let me talk a bit about what the combat feels like. Because this is a first-person game, and first-person RPG, right? So it's, more in the vein of, back in the day, like a System Shock or a Bioshock, but what does it feel like? The gunplay, to me, felt good, but it's kind of a slower and more methodic style of gunplay than a game like a Doom. Kind of reminded me, and I don't know if you guys remember this game, Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay back in the day, but it was a game that added normal mapping in on Xbox, and it was first person, but it was done kind of in a more deliberate style and methodic style of gameplay. And this obviously is more kind of, heavily action oriented than that, but the gunplay is different, and I played it again over streaming technology on PC, so I can't fully judge it, and I want to be honest with you guys about that, I didn't play it like, on a PC, so it's hard to really judge the responsiveness, but it's definitely a more methodic style of gunplay than like a super fast-paced first-person shooter, and I didn't really mind it. It felt like it was different and a little more deliberate, but it was definitely something to sort of get used to in terms of what it's like playing it. But it was very responsive. The combat sequences were really fun. And the combat also, there's hacking that's involved, right? So you can go in and sort of hack screens and distract people and whatnot. So there's stealth. It's not just balls to the wall action as you would kind of expect in it. This is a Street Kid playthrough, some more footage of this sequence. So again, this is something that I didn't get to play myself. So I'm watching this as well. We'll get to the corpo footage in a little bit. But, the combat felt really good to me, and it felt super cool. This is Jackie, a character that is featured in all of the playthroughs, and he's kind of really with you in the prologue and sort of the first chapter of the game.
Never heard of these
Jackie
honor.
is a super cool
Finders
guy.
keepers. I was
He's,
first. Listen, only one or two
sort
ways
of
to do this.
you grow to know him no matter what life
Either way,
path you
the ending's
choose,
the same.
and he
I'm taking the
becomes
car.
sort of a trusted friend and partner
Carlos?
to him, at least in the corpo playthrough. But I think in the other playthroughs, you actually have like a different experience with him, which is cool. So all the players, as I understand, all the playthroughs are working with him, but your relationship with him is different based on which kind of playthrough that you have. And there are also some characters that I got to experience in my playthrough as Corpo, which are different. So like you saw in the Nomad playthrough, that sort of a sheriff sort of like character. I don't even know his name because I didn't play as him. I think he may just be called Sheriff. But that's something that the Nomad playthrough you get that I didn't even get to experience. So that footage is kind of new to me. So again, completely different missions based on life paths. So you really sort of get 3 games here in one. And obviously they intersect at certain points, but you can do 3 unique playthroughs with different story content in them, which is just is kind of insane to me to see. I think everyone obviously gets the same core missions. The brain dance that we'll talk about when we get to footage of that. That was a really interesting experience, sort of playing through that. But again, everyone has sort of different parts. The prologue of the game is really sort of the first part that we got to play. As they said, the trailer and whatnot came from that prologue piece. And that is, I think everyone, I believe everyone has the same first mission in the prologue, which is the pickup. And that's basically Jackie and V, the character of Jackie, who I don't see in the footage yet. But Jackie, you'll hear more about. Or actually, sorry, I talked about Jackie. Yeah, we showed Jackie. Sorry. So Jackie and V basically team up, and they're kind of together for the prologue. One thing is Keanu Reeves' character, Nice Silverhand, I didn't even get to see or experience in what I got to play. It was really primarily like Jackie and V are kind of the team that kick things off. So Jackie and V basically start the game and go through a lot of the prologue together as sort of plans, and they're looking to kind of enter the mercenary world in Night City, and then Dexter Sean, who you guys saw, I think, last year in the E3 trailer, guy big smoking cigarettes, stuff like that. He works with them, and they kind of work together on this sort of initial heist. So that's sort of something that they need to kind of figure out and work together on. And that's really where sort of like things start out. Everyone has a bit of a different playthrough based on kind of who you are, but you make choices, and that's the thing is with this game, like there are multiple ways to go through things. There's side missions, like you would expect from a CD Projekt Red RPG. There are lots of choices that you get to make as you kind of play through it. I did that mission, and then the mission that I got to do with a lot of gameplay was the All Foods Factory. It was, very combat oriented, that I'll get to talk about if we get to show some footage of that. But it's you can stealth through a factory, you can engage in combat, you can shoot your way out, you can go a bunch of different ways, but there are definitely some stealth things, and there's a pretty fun training mission. Here's Lizzie's bar, which you get to go to. This is something I did get to play as, and you get to chat with her. You can see some of the dialogue with her, but I mean, the character design is like phenomenal. And it's not just, 3 of the characters are this cool. Like literally every character you meet has an incredible just sort of sense of style and fashion. And like the world is so rich and cool.
Everything set up.
And really well done. I thought the acting was engaging. The characters are just blended into the world. It's not cutscene oriented. Everything is sort of happening. And this is the brain dance that we're going to talk about. So you saw, actually, this is the footage that we saw in Night City Wire with the brain dance. So this is a really interesting type of gameplay, and it takes a while to get used to. It's like sort of the investigation mode in a Batman game, but even more in depth. So it's kind of like a video editor, right? I do a lot of video editing, and it reminds me of video editing, in that you have the editor and then you scrub through, right? So there's a timeline, but there's multiple layers. So there's like a visual layer, there's an audio layer, and then there's, I don't know if it's active yet, but there's a thermal layer that also comes in. And basically what you can do is you can scrub through these scenes, in this kind of heist sequence you'll see, and you can move the camera around, and the brain dance allows you to basically see and scan things in different ways. So across those 3 layers, you can basically rewind and fast forward through sequences. You can pick which layer you want to sort of figure out a clue, and then you can zoom in on things.
That'll take you right back to the beginning.
Sorry, I gotta take a swig of water. You can zoom in on things, and then basically analyze them to get additional clues. So there were 2 brain dance sequences that I got to check out in the game. This is one of the first ones, and it's a different type of gameplay, right? It really is like investigation and discovery across multiple layers. And right now, as I played it, it's a little challenging sometimes because you definitely are hunting. You're kind of pixel hunting in a way to sort of try and figure out things.
Okay,
And you'll know that you have to go to the thermal layer, right? And you're like searching for an object or a clue. So like in one of the other braindance sequence, you're looking for this kind of chip or clue somewhere in the world, and you kind of it's in the thermal layer. They'll tell you that. But you kind of have to like watch the sequence, and sometimes the camera in this. It can only be sort of around the characters in terms of how the braindance works, so you can't necessarily scan the entire environment. So as these characters move, you'll sort of go out of signal or range. And this is the audio layer here, right? So you can see that there's some audio clues that are highlighted. You can kind of zoom into those. And this is kind of how you discover things in the game in terms of story beats and obviously, investigation beats. So very different, right, than like gunplay or driving around. This kind of, you can see he'll pull a gun on the guy here in the store, and it's this is something where you can kind of move around,
right next to me.
see the sequence from multiple different ways. And again, I'd never seen this before from the game. It was sort of a very different kind of approach to how you do a, kind of an investigation mode. And I don't know how much of it is going to be in the game. It feels, though, like it's going to be a pretty significant part of the experience, going back to Lizzie's and sort of these brain dances that you get to kind of continue to experience. So certainly like a new kind of feature. And that's in addition, obviously, to all like the hacking stuff, which is kind of a big part of it as well. That you go through kind of hacking tutorials earlier on in the game, and I got to play through that, which is again kind of like a different what you would expect in this, right? I think the braindance thing was something different. So braindance, as they sort of said, is the most popular form of entertainment in the world, and it's sort of kind of, I think, came out of kind of a porn background. But allows you to basically replay memories, right? And I mean, part of this game is about genetic modification and technology, so makes sense for this to sort of be a part of it. But it's basically the commercial production of memories. So as you can imagine, this braindance editing suite is the way you're going to sort of like gain knowledge and information on characters and whatnot kind of throughout the world. So you kind of become an investigator as V and get to see through these. So again, this is kind of the kind of robbery in effect sequence that you get to go through, and you're kind of analyzing and figuring things out. So again, it reminds me of some of the Batman games, some of the investigations that you would do in those, kind of piecing together clues. And then there's another one, I don't know if they're going to show footage of, that I got to play through in my playthrough that was sort of after that. And this was in Act 1, so it was a little bit further past the initial prologue stuff that I got to play through after this big all foods combat sequence that I got to play of. So again, you come out of this, this is Lizzie's bar, where you sort of go into these brain dances, and that was, again, a pretty cool new feature that we got to check out in Cyberpunk as well. All right, so we're back to the Nomad playthrough. I should have played as Nomad because so much of this footage comes from Nomad, but there's going to be some Corpo stuff, I know it. As you can see here, tons of dialogue options for you and Jackie going through, and again, the characters and the look and feel of it. It's a really rich, beautiful world. It's only going to look better on the new consoles and next gen. So I think it's so smart of them to bring this out kind of alongside the new consoles. Because typically with launch games, you get games that are kind of not rushed, but sort of limited in scope for launch. I mean, this is probably one of the most ambitious games of the past decade that is going to be coming out right alongside these new consoles, hopefully. I know everyone's like skittish now on CD Projekt Red finishing it, but I thought, overall, it was pretty polished what I got to play. It felt really good. I mean, look at these, action sequences, right? I mean, this is stuff right out of big action games that is sort of in this world. And the fact that you get really good feeling action sequences with these agents versus you, and then you go into the investigation mode and the level of customization and detail. I don't know if we're going to get to show sort of the perk trees or the skill trees of the characters, and I really got to really play with those. I got up to, I think, level 5 in my playthrough of my character, but the amount of depth and choices, as you would expect, are just absolutely insane. And improving your abilities and skills. Seems like lots of options there that you're going to get in the game as expected. hacking was another thing that's really interesting, and the hack sort of scenario is something that is different than I kind of was expecting. But you can hack kind of at any point, really, and you can scan the world. So I think it's the left bumper. You kind of hold down, and you can scan the world, and then you can pick things that you want to hack with the right bumper, and then you kind of go in and you can pick hacks, right? So you can do things like in one sequence, you can hack a monitor that will then distract the guards, and it'll kind of fritz out. And then when that happens, you know, it goes to the hack of the person, and then you basically, you know, they get distracted, and then you can go in and sort of, you know, take them down. So definitely lots of hacking you can do of kind of objects and items in the world and environment. Which one of you is my guy? The other thing is the world has a lot of emergent gameplay in it, in terms of things that you can do and characters reacting to what's happening in the world. That was something that was really, really compelling to me, is just to feel like I could kind of make choices, and I could steal someone's basketball, or I could, you know, even just like watch a TV show. Like there was this talk show, one part of my playthrough, I think it was called Night After Night, and it was just like running on a TV monitor, and something just to watch, and other characters react to you watching it. It's the kind of stuff that you expect, honestly, from like a Rockstar game in terms of the depth and complexity of the world and the density. I think that's one word that I would probably use a lot when talking about Cyberpunk. It's just like an incredible density to the world and the experience as you play through it. It just felt like, again, every character was someone you wanted to meet, you wanted to know their story, and the entire world felt really lived in, right? I mean, sometimes there are open world games where it's like there's kind of a core path, and then, you know, there's kind of the side characters or the NPCs which weren't really fleshed out. And this game, it's like everything feels like, I mean, the amount of art that went into it and the character design just like blows me away. Like it's literally a game where I would want to walk down every block and go into, you know, every store and meet every character, because there's just so much going on in it. And that's a pretty cool feeling to have when you first start playing a game, is that you want more of it, and you don't want to necessarily just force yourself down the you know, critical path. As I mentioned, like Johnny, you didn't even meet him in the game so far, right? So it was really kind of a story about Jackie and V that I got to kind of check out, at least in my playthrough. So, you know, I remember I did an interview with the CEO of CD Projekt Red last year at E3, and he said that Keanu's character, Johnny, has the second most lines of dialogue in the entire game to V, and I didn't even get to meet him in the first 4 hours. So that's kind of like, you know, an insane opportunity that there's a lot going on. So here's Jackie again. And again, look at how the characters live in the world, right? And these are not cutscenes. It's really well placed and scripted in a way that you don't feel like they're kind of going into story mode and pulling out of it. It all is very seamlessly done, and you know, from the motion capture to the animation to the voiceover, it really is like it's super smooth. And you know, the NPCs, they're not just standing there, right? They're kind of like sitting on the stairs, and like it's just like that's the kind of stuff that just oozes with ambiance to me, and just makes the world feel lived in, which I think is a really unique and cool aspect to this game, which everyone is, you know, really excited about. Some other aspects of sort of the game, as we sort of play through this again. This is not necessarily my playthrough. This is just a look at sort of a sequence from the game, and we're entering sort of afterlife here, as you can see. A few other things that I'll sort of talk about. Sort of your attributes of your character. And these are just some notes I took. You have, in terms of building out your character, you can spread your points across 5 core stats when you sort of first set up your character. And it's your body, reflex, intelligence, technical ability, and your sort of cool, your self-control. This is Jackie Wells. So those are kind of each attribute, and they have their own perk trees around them, and you can have perk points to sort of level up. And again, I got to about level 5. I did get level 5 in my playthrough, is kind of where things ultimately kind of ended up for me. But again, everyone has a different play style. I played a little more brute force, more action oriented. There was a little bit of stealth. Sorry, Mr. Kojima, but I was a little more action oriented on this one. But it was really fun. And again, look at this like Afterlife Club. look at the characters and look at how it, like, how well placed and how lifelike it feels, right? And this is something that I think you talk about the next generation of games, and yeah, sure, it's about like raw graphic power, but it's also just the density of the experience, to me at least, and the lived-in aspect of it, that it really feels alive. And this world to me feels alive. Like, look at just the animations in the background, the characters and the screens and the lighting and all this. And again, you know, we had seen screenshots of this game for so many years, and we're like, yeah, it looks cool, those are bull shots. And it's like, no, this is actually like the game and the experience. And look at these characters, how they talk to you, and it's just like phenomenal. And this is the kind of game that I think is going to become this living world, right? And you think of just the core story experience, but then, you know, down the road when they figure out, I'm sure, how to do, you know, things that are more multiplayer and experiential around all this stuff. Like the world of Cyberpunk, I think, is going to be something that we're going to be wanting to live in for quite a long time. Just because, again, like, you can hear some of the dialogue here, and again, I'm sure people are complaining in chat that, oh, it's chatting over it, we just want to hear it. But it's, I'm sure there's lots of people who are posting this footage on their own. It's not, I'm not the only person that has it. But it's really, again, cool to see. Look at this, like, even, you know, interactions, right? You can put, you know, take a drink, talk to these guys, and everyone reacts in just such a realistic way. I'm kind of honestly blown away by the scope of it, and also a little scared that it feels so involved and intense that I have no idea when they're going to be able to actually finish this thing. But they say they're on track for later this year. But again, like, the scale of this world and the way it looks, you know, what next-gen game is going to have this level of detail to it? And again, the graphics are going to be amped up. I assume this is PC footage. I mean, this looks very similar to what I played, but again, I played over the NVIDIA GeForce Now is what we used for kind of the playthrough, where they streamed it to my PC since we can't go anywhere physically. So it was a little hard to judge, like, the full graphic fidelity of it. But, you know, there's Lizzie's bar that we actually saw, where you go in there for the brain dance. But I love that they've just been so raw and real, just kind of like releasing a bunch of gameplay footage to us to just kind of check out. And again, the Night City Wire was great as like a produced piece, but I hope you guys are just, I feel like now you're getting a better sense of like what it likes to, what it's like to play this game. So even here, like, you can go, you know, grab that guy's ball and throw it out, and all this is like, this is your choice in your play style, right? These are not just like cutscenes that you're kind of watching. Everything is kind of built within the game environment. And again, the scale and scope of the world, it feels so fresh. And I gotta say, the whole technology angle for an RPG, like,
I don't get paid to do that.
first person, like, this is exciting to me. This is not, you know, not traditional swords and sorcery. I mean, this is really like, you know, it's GTA meets Blade Runner meets a little bit of Skyrim. I mean, it's got all those pieces in there, but it just feels like a fresh new world, which is, we don't get that often, something this kind of detailed and realistic. So again, heading in here, and this is actually a Corpo playthrough, so this is kind of basically what I actually got to experience, where you go and meet with Jackie here, and you'll go down to the table and kind of meet with him and chat with him. And again, look at another environment here, right, where it's like you just want to, like, just hang out, like, talk to different characters, because it looks so good and feels so alive. So you go here, sit down with Jackie, guys will, you know, have a little chat here, and again, just listen to some of this dialogue. Like, it's just so good.
It's good to see you too, Jack. How you been?
Yeah, well, that's all we get. But it's just like, even the way he interacts with you, grabs your hand,